excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing Esper Vial. We have a powerful card in Esper Vial, which helps us ramp out creatures, and boy do we have a lot of creatures. We have 33 main deck creatures and a Yorion in the sideboard. And if you count the Fairy Macabre as creatures, we have even more, but we don't do that. Okay, so let's talk about how this deck functions. First, get Esper Vial into play, and then bam, just pump out tons of amazing creatures, the best creatures in the format. We've got 4 Tameo, 4 Psychic Frog, we've got 4 Baleful Strix, we've got 4 Recruiter of the Guard, so we're going to Value Town. We have Flicker Wisp, which can flip our Overlord, which is a very powerful new card. I'll read it out loud. So it's a 5-drop, but you can cast it for 2 mana with Impending, and instead of being an enchantment creature, it just comes in as an enchantment. But you still get this powerful enters trigger where you mill 4 cards, and then you can return any non-avatar creature card or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's not just from among the 4 cards you milled. You can return any creature in your yard, and frequently you're going to be returning Solitude, which is just bonkers, insane powerful right now. And it is exile-based removal, which makes this deck very well suited to be able to strike down the blue-black Reanimator Menace. What else are we doing? Well, we've got a ton of one-ofs because we're running Recruiter of the Guard. And we've got the little surprise days, which I'm hoping to get somebody during this league with. Nobody expects days, and when they tap out for their giant Kozilek's Command or their giant 4th Aerolingus, just think, boom, days. And once you play it against somebody, they're going to be traumatized. They're always going to fear days. It's great. We also have lots of fetchable targets. Lavinia, very strong against combo. We have Felia, who can also flip Overlord if we need to. She's not quite as reliable as Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp, you just get the enters trigger and you definitely flip the Overlord. You definitely flicker your Baleful Strix or your Recruiter, or potentially, I mean, at the worst, Flicker Wisp can hit lands. So it can hit like your Meticulous Archive and get a Surveil trigger. So it's not embarrassing at all. And then we also have Bogart Trawler, which doubles as a land number 30. We can wipe our opponent's graveyard. Witch Enchanter, which doubles as number 31. And that can take out an artifact or an enchantment. It's also worth noting that if you play these lands, you can later hit them with Flicker Wisp, and they will come back as a creature, and you'll get the effect, and you'll have the nice creature. We have Harbinger of the Seas, which is instrumental in locking out Eldrazi, and most of our Eldrazi wins are going to involve a Harbinger of the Seas. We have Hull Breacher, which is really good against a lot of combo decks, but it's also really good against control decks. And we have a single Teferi. So we never have to risk drawing more than one Teferi or drawing more than one of our legendary creatures. So that is the rationale in having these. Between the 4 Swords to Plowshares and the 4 Solitude, we generally have creature strategies covered. We have 4 Force of Will, and we have a lot of sideboard cards we bring in against combo. We've got 2 Force Negations. We've got 4 Consign to Memories. We've got Hydroblast because a lot of combo these days is red. I'm thinking Epic Gamble. I'm thinking Ruby Storm. I've been playing this deck a lot lately, so you can watch some other videos on this channel of me playing it. But we're just going to dive in. As always, we're going to play a full 5 rounds of Legacy, and I'm going to say every thought that enters my mind. So hopefully this will help you improve your piloting. If you see something that I'm doing that you think is suboptimal, timestamp it, baby. Let's put it in the comments, and everybody can learn from your insight, not just me. I will read every comment. I'll never shoot the messenger, and I will hopefully learn from you, and hopefully other people watching this will learn from you as well. And I hope you learn a ton, because learning is the name of the game. We're not playing to win. We're playing to get better. Let's do it. Round 1, we're up against an unknown opponent with a pretty solid hand. I like the Vial. Also, you might notice like my interface keeps doing this thing where it like highlights like literally every card I mouse over, it gets big. And everything is really big. So I don't know what's going on. I tried restarting. I think MTGO may just be a bug in MTGO right now. So bear with me. Okay, so we're going to open Vial here. We're going to have days. Assuming they don't waste us, we've got a pretty clear trajectory. Tameo into Felia into potentially solituding their threats. I like it. Starting off with a Mox, so this is going to be an unfair matchup, unfortunately, which our hand is not well disposed to address. This makes me think that they're playing Moon Stompy, so it's like doubly bad here. Vexing Bauble shuts off Solitude and Daze. This is not good, folks. There's a land. They're shocking it in. Oh, interesting. They're shocking it in, but they're not using it. Makes me wonder what they have in hand that they wanted to shock that in and not be a little more ginger with their life total. So I am going to go ahead and open Vial here. If they crack their bauble for some reason, I mean, that would be one reason to potentially shock it in. Then we have days up. But I'm not liking our odds against Moon Stompy here. This is a pretty rough matchup. Oh, the matchup is made less rough. They could be light on mana. Pyrogoyf is an insane creature that they can definitely ram out later. There's the other Mox. Man, am I going to get to nug a 4-drop? I would be so happy if I could daze something here. Because with the Vial out, you want to time walk your opponent by dazing their stuff. Wow. This is insane value. I remember how I told you that one daze is going to pay off. What a payoff for having a single daze in your deck. Stopping a Caves of Chaos Adventurer after they pitch so many lands to get here. They're down to 1 card. We've got our Vial ticking up. I'm feeling great. I am tempted to waste just to reduce possibility. I mean, I'm not going to be doing anything with the mana anyway. So let's go ahead and do so. Oof. That's not a good card. Unfortunately, it's not really going to help us. I think we waste and just try to buy time. I don't expect them to have any... I mean, they could definitely play another 4-drop. That would be a good reason to get that out of the way. We don't have a lot of lands ourselves, so taking a turn off to waste is not a big deal. I'll Vial and Tameo, and yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Hopefully, this Vial stays in play, but we're basically hoping that the Vial stays in play. Yes, we're going to put a Tameo into play, and I am making an effort to pronounce her the Japanese way, even though I'm used to calling her Tameo, like a Texan. All right, so we are going to take this up. Overlord is really good if we get Felia in, but we don't have a way to actually play out that Overlord. Felia is a pretty good end step thing. If we Felia, we lose the ability to Solitude, so we may want a Baleful Strix here. But I am going to go ahead and attack with this. All right. So Felia can start going after Moxes, which is it's going to force them to exile cards from their hand. All right, my daughter came and stole my phone because she wants to watch silly YouTubers. Even sillier than me. All right, so I am going to put in... I'm going to put in Felia. I don't expect any instant speed shenanigans here. Felia has higher upside in that it can start blinking Moxen and just making it like less... it's a very minor mana denial strategy, but I think it's more powerful than putting in a Strix here. And now what I'll do is with this ability on the stack, I'm going to hold control. Now I can tap it and I'll put in Strix so I get to draw a card. So Strix is coming in. Sorry again that it keeps blowing up. Like, I don't know why MTGO keeps doing that. Okay, so we're going to get a card and then we'll take up our Vial. Are they conceding? Okay, well, they just conceded. We'll take it. I mean, wow, days. One of days. Okay, and this is what I have to look forward to this league. For some reason, it's making all my cards giant. Look, I make them like as tiny as I can, and they're still too giant for me to see. So this is going to be kind of like a clown card type league, but we're going to try to play tight regardless. I mean, I guess I could try restarting again. I did restart earlier, and it didn't fix the problem. MTGO has been doing a lot of maintenance lately, so it's possible that this is, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. Okay, so... yeah, I think Consign to Memory is pretty good here. It stops not only the trigger from... Sorry, I'm trying to like focus while these giant cards pop up everywhere. Cards that are bad. I think Overlord is bad. My reasoning is it's not blue, and we need blue and we need white so we can have high force count. I think the other card that we don't need... Bogart Trawler's not going to do anything in this matchup, and it's actually kind of bad. I guess we could play it out as a mountain, maybe. Let's see. Prismatic Ending is good, and I would like to get it in my deck if I can find space. Hull Breacher's not good. Well, Hull Breacher does stop One Ring, but if if One Ring has hit the table, something catastrophic has happened. Do we keep it? I think we keep it as an answer to One Ring. I think we take out the Daze. Daze actually isn't very good in the matchup. It was just insane there. And this is what I was talking about. Like Daze and Ones, hopefully we're inside their head now. Lawnmower man's in your head now. Lavinia, too slow. I mean, she does pitch to both Solitude and Force, so that's like her saving grace. They do have 0 drops in their deck. I don't know. Tamio's pretty mid. We need to make some more drops though. I think we actually cut some number of Tamio because she was like actively bad against initiative, and yeah, I just don't think it's that great. I'll put one of these in. All right, and that's our very strong transformational sideboard. Consign to Memory can stop the initiative trigger, which makes Caves of Chaos Adventure less insane. It can also stop a Barrowgoyf trigger. So it can hit a lot of things other than just hitting One Ring and Moxen. I mean, we beat that one on the draw. Oh, we should have taken out freaking Harbinger. That was a mistake. Okay. This hand is pretty good if they don't have Vexing Bubble. They have Vexing Bubble. This is a terrible hand. We don't have a path to a second land is the big thing. Like, yeah, we can stop 2 of their things, but what are we going to do? We're going to sit around. I think I'm going to do better. Let's mull. This is definitely not better. This is a pretty terrible hand. If we mull yet again, we're really going into the danger zone. I'm going to mull yet again. This would be insane if it had a land because Vial makes every hand insane. I can't believe we're mulling a 4, but we are. This is the best hand we've seen. Let's keep. Gosh, I hope we get a turn to fetch a land. This hand is nice. We're going to put back 1 consign. I think we put back a Delta. Do we put back Delta? Yeah, and we have to put back 1 more land. 1 more card. I think. Oh, wow. If we get a land in play, we don't really need anything else. Like, we'll just let Vial tick up. And we just need a blue source to cast these. So I'm going to do this, and hopefully they don't lock us out with a turn 1 Blood Moon. But this is like, you don't want to be mulling this aggressively against them, obviously. The good news is we're unaffected by the Vexing Bubble, if that's what they go with. Fable is, very strong card, obviously, but it's not like game ending. All right, and the fact that they open City means that if we can take them off that land, we'll be sitting pretty. I'm going to go ahead and Island Vial. Next one, we'll go get a Plains, which is the second most important card in our deck, and we'll just hope to cast our creatures that will eventually draw off of Vial. All right, let's see how many cards they discard. They're getting a lot of selection here. Goblin Shaman Token is going to keep their discard of the Fury. Yeah, I mean, we could easily get hit with the initiative here if they have it. I refuse to believe they don't have something insane here because their deck is just one insane card after another. Another Fable's pretty bad for us. We can overcome this kind of value, but it's going to be hard from a mull as deep as we mulled. Right. Take up our Vial. Another land. I mean, these are not bad by any means. These don't do anything right now, but do we blast? I mean, they're both going to be problematic. Let's see. If we counter the 3rd chapter, we can exile. We can stop the return to play, so we can turn Consign into a removal spell, and then we could blast this and shut off their selection. I kind of like doing that. Wait. Do these both go on the stack at the same time? We could just replicate and stop both of the triggers. I think that's probably better than using the Blue Blast. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I mean, it's not great, but it's better than nothing. This is desperate times, desperate measures, right? So once it hits chapter 3, does it like just keep triggering? How does that work? I think it only happens once. Yep. We're going to go and get our planes. Stick to the plan. Okay, Giant Plains. Blue, colorless. Consign. Cast with Replicate. Target that. And we'll replicate one time. And now the Replicate goes on the stack and we just target the other one. Okay, and they're both countered, I believe. I believe this is how it works. We're learning in real time. Okay, yeah, the Fable went to the graveyard and we stopped that. So yeah, it was kind of like a 2-for-1. Denied them some value, but like, I mean, it's not like we're in a great position. We're dead on board to the stuff that they're already swinging at us with, and now they have tons of treasure tokens too. But like these Fables, they're actually like a huge pain if they stay out there. Yeah, Fable is just such a really strong card. I like it's a very fair, very good card. I mean, it costs 3 mana, but like that's what the Ancient Tombs and City of Traders are. So I don't want you to think I'm complaining about Fable, but I'm just admiring how good of a card it is. And here is maybe the initiative, maybe one ring. I don't regret anything. I think we did need to stop this from coming into play, and the fact that we could stop the loot, it's small and incremental, but it is something. We're almost certainly dead here. I'm trying to think of a card we could draw that could get us out of this. Like a Baleful Strix would be good, but it's not going to do enough. A Baleful Strix into Recruiter of the Guard. Even that is probably too slow. So I'm going to go up Vial. I'm most likely going to have to blast Caves of Chaos Adventurer. There's another consign, but we're dead. Like this is going to hit us. We're like so far behind. All right. So that happens. I'm going to take out the Harbinger of the Tide for sure. I shouldn't have left that in. That can be Prismatic Ending number 2. I mean, we can see Prismatic Ending is going to be good here. If we even a 3, Prismatic Ending can take out like Blood Moon if we get our basics out. Actually, if we get our basics out, we don't care about Blood Moon, right? So this deck doesn't have anything that costs double blue except for like the Forces and the Force Negations and the Harbinger, which we're taking out right now. So I think we bring back in Days on the play. Seems good. I'd like to bring in Prismatic Ending. You know what? I think Hullbreacher isn't as good as Prismatic Ending. I'd much rather like just snipe a Mox than like have something I can hypothetically go get if they get one ring out. Okay, the interface is acting super duper funky now. I can't drag cards. Maybe I can double click it. Okay, I'm going to figure out what's going on here. All right, so I'm just going to quit. And let's see if I can restart it and it fixes and if I still have time to submit. So this is the kind of drama you can expect. You're eating good on the Be Excellent channel. Well, MTGO decided to undo all of my sideboard decisions. So I'm actually playing like a slightly more than 80 card deck, but I did want to get those additional force effects in here. So yeah, that is embarrassing. It sucks that like I came back and I had like literally like 20 seconds to sideboard. So I just did the best I could, but I did want to get that submission in because it would be really terrible to play without sideboard. So here we don't have a path to a basic land. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get Tamio out. She is really weak in the matchup, but I didn't have time to cut her. Yeah, I'll keep. I think if they open Blood Moon, we're pretty screwed. Yeah, and the problem persists with this thing. But like my interface completely locked. I couldn't do anything. So I'm not sure what's going on with MTGO. I probably need to get Underground Sea here because I do have access to white with Witch Enchanter. Yeah. I really wish there was a way to like get Lavinia out turn 1 because that is a really strong card if you play it immediately. If you don't play it immediately, it's not that great because the horse gets out and then you shut the barn door on turn 2. Please just play it untapped. No. Okay, something bad is coming. I mean, really, if it's like if it's a Blood Moon, we're just screwed. Oh, wow. No play? Sign me up. There's definitely a risk here that they have Fury and they just blow us out. But I'm not going to not play Lavinia when they have so many so many Moxen and things like that in their deck. I will pay the life. Let's go ahead and Lavinia here and hopefully lock out some of their more degenerate things that they can do. Okay, and now we don't have to worry about Fury. That's one of the nice side benefits of having Lavinia out. Shuts off Fury, and it shuts off them like moxing. Obviously, moxes and stuff like that get countered. This is like our own kind of like one-sided Vexing Bubble, but it's so much better than Vexing Bubble. It's just that it costs 2 mana instead of 1. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. All right. Well, there goes our ace in the hole. Hopefully the rest of their hand is like slower. Also, if you hear my son's just kind of like playing in the background on the piano. He's experimenting with a lot of things, so it may be a little bit dissonant. Yeah, think of how solid that Lavinia would have been here. Instead, we're just going to get completely dumpstered by Blood Moon Effect. Or an initiative creature. If they played an initiative creature, I can't play anything, actually. I can't play out Velful Strix or anything. Strix would be good. Okay. There's just a Blood Moon. Just a casual Blood Moon. So, how do we win here? Well, we draw a basic. That didn't work. We could use 2 clues to flip Tamio. And if we do that, then if we can get 2 clues in the same turn, then we can flip her and start going upstairs. That's like one potential path to victory. We can draw an Aether Vial. I'm going to go ahead and crack a clue now, because if I find an Aether Vial, it may not be too late. There might still be a chance, a snowball's chance in hell. There's a land. Yeah, we're just going to chill. I mean, it's a land that doesn't do anything. It's a mountain. We did have the Marsh Flats, but we needed a blue to cast Tamio. We never had an opportunity to get an island, which is the land we actually needed. Pyrogoyf is already a 3/4, so our Tamio is gone, unless they want to hit us. Yeah, they are hitting Tamio. Okay. Hold out hope. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and crack this. Just try to dig to a land. It's not helping. Let's play this out and we'll pass, and we're going to die very quickly to Pyrogoyf. If we find an island and a Hydro, we might still have a chance. I don't think we have a chance anymore. We're like super duper dead. Yeah, them having dead on our Tamio made all the difference. Like, imagine Tamio was in play. They wouldn't be able to Mox. They wouldn't be able to get Blood Moon out, and we would have had an extra turn to develop. Might have even had Consign Up to stop the Pyrogoyf trigger if they targeted with that. I mean, yeah, if things were different, they wouldn't be the same. We're dead. There's nothing we can draw. Good games. Yeah, disappointing. Hopefully MTGO will cooperate for subsequent rounds. But that is not a matchup we were favored in, I don't think. Maybe if we'd been able to sideboard correctly. Like, Tamio wasn't even supposed to be in the deck. Maybe that was a mulligan, and I was just tilted that I had been like rushed to try to submit my sideboard. And maybe that was not a keep. On the play, it felt okay, but then like the moment I kind of submit, I realized, oh, we don't actually have a path to basics here. So I'll just take that as an L on my own account and not blame MTGO or anything like that. I don't think our opponent was like super lucky or anything like that. I think it was just like normal, kind of like typical Moon Stompy goldfishing behavior. Just like, if you don't stop them, they are just going to run you over. Round 2, we're on the draw again against a likely Reanimator player. So we're going to have to mull aggressively to find a force heavy hand, or like Bogart Trawler, if we have time to set up, does clear the graveyard. All right, this seems like a solid hand against Reanimator. I like Lavinia. She's not like super duper strong against them. She does shut off Force and Daze. We're going to keep this. Vial, any hand with Vial, basically you keep. Vial's just so strong. It's the deck is called Esper Vial because of Vial. Mox. So this may not be a Reanimator because I've never seen a Reanimator play Moxen. Okay, Moon Stompy again. We're prepared this time. We've got our basic island. We're going to be able to get a basic plains. Broadside. I feel like this is worth stopping. They've already dropped the Mox. I mean, we do shut off a lot of potential draws with Lavinia. I think we can pitch this Brainstorm here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Plains into Vial. They're down to 2 cards already. Yeah. I guess they mulliganed to 6. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we had that force for sure. This card is super scary. Okay. Witch Enchanter is not great, but it's not the worst. So I'm going to get... We're going to be disciplined and play on basics here. Witch Enchanter can go after Chromox on the way up to our ultimate destination of 5. Aether Vial is kind of like an express elevator. And sometimes you have something you want to drop off on a given floor. That's great for us. They were so low on resources. This does give them resources back. I think Lavinia is going to help a lot with this card, though. It's going to stop them from doing a lot of stuff. If because they're probably going to be drawing Moxen. They're going to drawing Furies, things like that. But they will also be drawing land. So I am just going to play out Lavinia, and I'm going to hope they don't have like a Dead Gone. Like it could be like all these decks are playing Dead Gone now. But that was a game 2 where they got that. So, oh, man, yeah, they could definitely do like another broadside, throw the ring at me or something. Like there's a lot of scary stuff their deck is capable of. Good news is they're not going to be able to cast Fury at all until Lavinia is cleared. Next turn, we do have Psychic Frog, which has historically been a very strong card against Moon Stompy strategies. Pyrogoyf, we'll hit it. There's a lot of bad things that can happen here. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it makes sense to just play this deck. Like, if you're going to Eternal Weekend and you want a deck that's really good, that is fast and also just incredibly punishing. This deck punishes people that are trying to do fancier stuff like me. For sure. Like 3-color decks, punished. They are pretty low in life, though. So if they don't get rid of this Lavinia, I'm going to definitely attack in. But interesting, they're passing without play. All right. So Vial is going up. Archive kind of sucks. So let's think about this. We had the option of just going and getting Yorion, which we're eventually going to want to do, but it doesn't really accomplish any goals right now. The thing that Yorion does do is it does... They don't have like a instant speed creature, do they? Yorion does give us another card that we can potentially pitch to Force. We can do it next turn, though. But next turn, we're actually probably going to want a Witch Enchanter, which just seems so weak considering they're drawing so many cards. Yeah, I think I'm cool with getting Underground Sea and Yorioning, and then we have all our colors. We don't really need the basic Swamp, and we're not able to fetch it anyway. And I'll just wait and use Witch Enchanter. Witch Enchanter is not like necessarily a card you want to pay full price for anyway. I'm going to go ahead and attack and just see what they do. We do need to start chipping at their life total. Okay, no block. That's good. All right, and I'm just going to grab Yorion. And we have a lot of cards we can pitch to Psychic Frog. And Psychic Frog can surprise off this Vial and can fly. So we can do a lot of damage. And we can also potentially take the initiative if they're doing the initiative creature. Simian Spirit Guide. Is this a Fury? It is a Fury, and they're actually casting it. Nothing we can do about this. We're just going to let it happen, and then we're going to Frog them, and I think they're going to die to Frog. So Frog attacks for 5, and then they take 2 off the 1 ring. They have to tap it, though. Okay, they tapped it. Good. They still have a land dropped. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is the 4th land we draw. So we do 5, and they die exactly to 1 ring. All right, let's go ahead and jump. Wow, this one came down to the wire, didn't it? Hopefully I'm not prematurely celebrating and they just slam something I can't think of. But I think that is death for them. Another card we can potentially pitch, but we won. All right, let's go to game 2. Hopefully I can successfully sideboard here. Hopefully my cards aren't ginormous. Yeah, winning game 1 against Moon Stompy is a great feeling. Okay, and our cards are still giant, but like I've got them set to be like as tiny as possible. Okay, so we're just going to dump these in here. I do think we bring in this. I mean, it's going to be the same sideboarding strategy as last time. We'll get rid of the Overlord. Overlord's great and all, but it's not blue or white, and we need all the blue and white cards we can get. Bogart Trawler comes out. Harbinger comes out. Hull Breacher, we'll see how many cards we have to take out. I do think Tamio comes out. There is an amazing match where Joyful Waffle beat an opponent using Tamio to like draw a bunch of cards and stuff. And they drew like half their deck, and then they found like the island, and they kind of won. It was like an insanely long game. It was like a 15 or 16 turn game, but they were able to win off Tamio that they cast turn 1. Okay, so let's see if is there another cut. Felia is not terrible. It can blink Moxen. I think she's cool to stay. I don't really want to cut any lands. I already cut one in the form of the Bogart. We could definitely cut the Swamp. The Swamp does very little here. I don't want to cut it because I mean we do still have these 8 cards that require the Swamp. My son is singing to my cat. I think we just cut a Consign. It's a good card. All right, so this is a matchup where on the draw I do think we could cut a Daze. They have like, yeah. I'll cut the Daze. Oh no, is it not going to let me do anything? Is it not going to let me submit? It's acting funky again. Okay, hopefully it's submitting and we actually have a sideboard. If it's not, I'm probably just going to stop the league because I can't deal with the stress. Like I'm submitting an 81 card deck because it just, like the interface just stopped reacting. Okay. So far, so good. So we have an 81 card deck. It's not the end of the world. This is a really strong hand against them. It hits most of the angles. It doesn't really do anything, but we're just going to survive the initial volley. And hopefully Vexing Bubble is not their opener. If it is, then I'm just going to force it. And we're going to sit there and Solitude stuff for a couple turns. I don't think we can reasonably expect to do better than this. Yeah, I'm just going to hope they glass cannon something out and we can stop it. We've got it like 2 different angles covered. If they Vexing Bobble, and then I can just wait and hopefully force the turn the thing they do next turn. We have path to basic island or basic plains. It'll probably actually be basic plains looking at this hand. Okay, they Simian Spirit Guided for some reason in the middle of casting their Mox. They put a Pyrogorph back here. Pyrokinesis, rather. Which is a pretty good card. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's good against our deck. Pyrogorph. I think this is just a plow. I'm not going to force this. It does 0 damage. As far as turn 1 plays, not the scariest. Now I'm just going to get the basic planes. And I'll probably wait because they might have like a follow-up card. I definitely don't want to get got by, what's it called? The Broadside Bombardier throwing Pyrogorph at me or something like that. That would be scary. If they don't have anything to put in their graveyard and they're just going to sit there for a turn, then I can Surveil. It kind of sucks to do that because we're up against, but we do need to find another land. Okay, their City of Traders is dying. This is great. It's a lot of mana. Fiery Confluence. They're doing 6 damage to us. I'm not even going to counter that. I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. I think we do plow, though, before this becomes even bigger. Because life total is, something we want to be considerate of. Let's plow that, and we'll take 6. And that is okay. Like, you just legend rolled your land for that. Wow, they just conceded. Awesome. All right, so we split the Moon Stompy so far. Let's see how we can do in the next round. And they didn't even see like all the other stuff we had in our hand. I think it was just a bad keep. I can't imagine how that was going to work out. Like, no shade to our opponent. I think they gave our deck like way more credit for being able to just destroy them than it actually had. Like, I had no lands. I had Solitudes to defend our, like we were just going to hang back and it could be turns before we drew land. There's no reason to concede there. Round 3, we're up against likely Reanimator as of a few days ago. Playing a pretty standard list with Traxa, Trolls, 2 Metamorphosis Fanatic. This is what they were playing about a week ago. Hopefully they've gotten bored of it and moved on, because that's what I hope every Reanimator player does. Is this good against Reanimator? Absolutely not. This is pretty mediocre. I don't think I would keep this in the blind, even if I didn't know they were likely on Reanimator. I think I'm going to mulligan this. This is a much better hand, but it does require Val to do a lot of lifting. Lavinia pitches to Solitude. I think the weakest card in this hand is probably actually all Overlord, just because it's so slow to deploy. I'm going to keep it and hope that, like, they only play 3 Wastelands. It's certainly possible that we dig to another Wasteland. Or, I'm sorry, to another land. And you may be thinking, like, how are you keeping this? But, like, Recruiter of the Guard is a path to us being able to exile their graveyard. And Vial is just an insanely strong card. Okay, I do think that if they attempt to flip Tamio, I am going to pitch Solitude to stop it. This is not a land. I'm just going to put it in the graveyard. Hopefully that doesn't signal to them that we're throwing away a card as powerful as Brainstorm, that we are locked, but we are. All they need to do is Wasteland, and the game is basically over. Yep. All right, well, I'm going to keep playing. I'm not going to scoop, because Aether Vial does put us back in it. But we're not going to get anywhere if this ultimates. So if they Brainstorm, we are going to need to remove it. Okay, we're going to remove it. That's what I said we were going to do. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to pitch Lavinia. She's the least useful here. And if they daze it, they daze it. And they're not dazing it, which is nice. So it sucks to 2-for-1 yourself over a card that is already created a clue token. So you're kind of like getting 3-for-1. But desperate times call for desperate measures. We did not have a generous mulligan. And you could argue that we didn't need to go for that mulligan, but our hand that we had previously would be totally dead to flip Tamio. All right. So they're getting an imperfect Brainstorm. We are getting a land. We're getting a land. Let's go. I'm going to get a Plains here, because that's the only one I can legally get. And I am going to get a basic here just because, you know, it would suck to get Wasteland again in like Brazen Borrowed or something. I don't know. Maybe that's too cowardly, because but Tamio is going to come out on her own next turn. We're super far behind though, and super unfavored. There's the Entomb. Atraxa, of course. And here's the Reanimate on Atraxa. Okay, so in my humble opinion, you always Solitude when Atraxa's out before she gets a chance to do anything. We're like so far behind. It's incredible. But I am going to go ahead and Solitude now. They didn't have the they didn't have it last turn. Maybe they don't have it days now. By the way, like, I'm not necessarily going to be able to fight through Atraxa here, but I have done so. I fought through Atraxa a ton with this deck. You can absolutely overcome the card advantage that they're mounting here. But it looks like they've got another Entomb Reanimate. So, and they even have the Archon in hand if they want it. Not that they can pitch it to anything. They don't have a frog, but they could have a frog. I mean, their hand is like where do we go from here? We're playing a Tamio that's almost certainly going to die to Archon. So it's not like we don't even play that out, probably. Okay, they chose Entomb, Ponder, and Psychic Frog. Oh, interesting. They had a very... Wait, why didn't they choose Daze or anything? I guess because they know they're going to discard. Entomb, Ponder, Psychic Frog. Oh, yeah. So they did have a... they didn't choose a Reanimate, but they were going to have a Psychic Frog. I can only imagine what's in their hand that they're exhibiting that much restraint. Because what they certainly could do is just take the... so I'll take this up. But again, like I definitely think Archon is in our near future. Plow would be very generous. Yeah. We'll just wait and we'll see if they Archon us. That's the bad thing about this deck is like all they need is an Entomb and you're fighting off a giant again. There's the Entomb. And maybe they already have like a natural Reanimate. There's the Reanimate. There's no point in playing this Tamio. I'm just going to discard it. And yeah, I mean, like it's plow or bust here, but plow might be good if they don't have a yeah, and I mean they're going to be able to attack with frog as well. I'm trying to think of, is there a world in which playing Tamio out is useful? Psychic Frog will allow us to rebuild if we're able to plow. So I think that's the card we need to take. But we're playing to plow, like literally the only card in our deck that matters right now. And it only matters if they don't have a daze or a force. Tarn, unfortunately, we're dead. They're going to be able to attack. When the triggers go on the stack, they all happen at the same time. So it's not like you can sacrifice a creature and then choose a discard. I think it all happens as one effect. So you can't, it's not 3 triggers. It's all one trigger. I'm just going to concede to conceal information. Like they don't need to know we're playing Psychic Frog, and there's like basically zero hope of surviving here. In fact, I'll draw a card. Like even if we did draw a plow here, let's see if it lets us draw a card. Yeah, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. This deck is just cracked. Okay, let's go ahead and bring in our fairies. These are something proactive we can do here, and then that's really all we bring in. Cards that are coming out. Harbinger of the Tides. Harbinger of the Tide. I do think Lavinia is pretty bad. I take her out in this matchup. And I think everything else can stay. We just need to make one more cut. I think it's Witch Enchanter. We don't really need the mana. Witch Enchanter just hits a few things. Like the dream scenario where you're hitting like a enemy dead, like, okay, they already have a giant monster in play, like, big deal. Like, you just, but Hull Breacher could potentially, do stuff. Daze obviously is live here. Yeah. And the great thing about this deck is because you have so many kind of like random silver bullets that are terrible in matchups like Lavinia and Harbinger of the Seas against the blue-black deck that has basics. There's very obvious things you can cut in almost every matchup. And most matchups are not like that Moon Stompy where I like boarded in like, 10 cards or 9 cards. Okay. All right. So again, this is a favorable matchup for us, but their deck is incredibly broken and it's just hard to know whether you're going to get what you need to get. I think this is fine. I can surveil into Strix, which is good against, I don't know that they're playing Bowmaster in their sideboard or anything like that. I doubt it. Let's take a look. They do have a couple Bowmasters. They may bring them in. Yeah, I think we surveil into Baleful Strix. And we're not going to play on basics. That Wasteland that happened last game, they have 3 Wastelands in 60 cards. It's less than a third likelihood that they're going to draw it during any given game, I think. Maybe like slightly more than a third. If they draw like 8 or 10 cards. I mean, eventually they'll find it, but eventually it's fine. We just need to stop the initial onslaught. All right. So we'll get the blue-black surveil. Overlord may actually be the play here because it generates value. I don't think that's good. Yeah, I think we dodge that. It's just like they can win with a single black mana. They just need a swamp and they need to tap it once for Entomb, once for Reanimate, and they win. So if we Overlord and we hit a Fairy Macabre, that's insane, but that's a big if. I think I'm going to go ahead and just jam a Strix and, if they have the Entomb into, Scary Guy, they have it. Most likely, like we're looking at a daze here, but we have to get the daze out of their hand somehow. It is much better to have them push this, but it's much worse to have them daze this than a frog. Looks like they're going to daze it. Such insane luck. I'm so tired of my opponents just randomly like putting their Archon of Cruelty into their yard. That was a shuffle, right? Like it's not like they planned to do that. They had a 1 in 25 chance of hitting either an Archon or a Traxa. They hit it. All right. Well, this is probably going to be a short game. If they have a single Reanimate effect in their hand, other than the Metamorphosis Fanatic. Yep, they have it. Wow. I think we don't need this Tamio. We could potentially double spell, but it's not going to matter. Nothing matters. All that matters is us putting this Recruiter of the Guard into play and then going and getting a Solitude. But unfortunately, we're not even going to be able to cast Solitude unless we draw a white card. So I will pitch Tamio. I think she's the least powerful if the game goes on. So I'll sacrifice this, of course, and then I'll discard this, and then they draw a card, and they get a bunch of life, and we lose life. So frustrating. And like the deck just gets better. Yeah, now we can't even Recruiter. The deck just gets better and better because of Entomb. Okay, so options. Overlord is our only path to, potential survival here. So if we I'm going to get, I guess, a Tundra here. There's no point in playing on basics. Like, in theory, they shouldn't draw any more Wastelands, but, of course, they will if they need to. Let's Overlord here. 7 cards in hand. What are the chances they have a daze? What are the chances we can get... Oh, Flicker Wisp. I got really excited. We are going to use the ability. We'll get back a Fairy Macabre. I mean, it sucks, but like, no, what are we going to get back? I mean, like, they can always follow up. That's the thing is, like, you're dealing with this and they're going ahead and getting their next monster lined up while you're desperately trying to clear the Archon. Strix draw us a card. And if we can somehow double spell, then, I mean, it's got to be Flicker Wisp because Flicker Wisp can flip this and get a second trigger, but it's just so weak. So weak. Now we're going to have to pitch probably a Psychic Frog to their ability, and we're going to lose 9 life, and they're going to draw another card and gain 3 more life. It's just so swingy. I promise this is not like a totally unfavorable matchup. I think I'm making mistakes in gameplay. I'm not sure what those mistakes are, but apparently I'm just not seeing like ways in which I could be somehow beating this with my deck that has 8 exile-based removal spells, 4 Force of Wills. The other Wasteland, as I said earlier, they'll draw it if they need it, and they I guess they wanted it, so they drew it. They manifested it. All right. Good games. See ya. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be tilted, but like surveilling Archon into the and then having 2 of their 3 Wastelands when it really mattered to keep the tempo back, that was rough. All right, let's do better than round 4. So I'm just going to entertain like the possibility that I made bad decisions with fetching on basics. I genuinely don't think that you fetch basics there. Had we fetched basics, we wouldn't have been able to deploy the Strix, which I know the Strix just instantly died when the Archon hit the table. But Strix is a good card against their decks in general. It does stop... a single Strix can wall an Atraxa, and of course it stops Psychic Frog. All right, we're on the draw again. Yeah, I have no idea what they're on. Last seen on blue-black control archetypes, Dimir, blue-black, non-reanimator. Let's hope they're staying honest and they haven't crossed over to the dark side, the Entomb side. I mean, this hand, not bad. I like the Solitude. We do have a force if they do try to do something unfair. I think what we do is we probably just go Island, end step, and then we Wasteland, and then we Tamio, and we try to tech up that way. We can see how they open. I would, of course, love to have a hand that has Esper Vial, but when you have a Yorion deck, you can't really afford to mull a lot. We saw how bad it was when I had to mull to 4 a couple games ago. They have their own Tamio. So this could be one of those situations where we have to, Solitude and then force to stop Tamio from flipping, because we're definitely not beating it with the current situation. Felia can blink her and restore her to creature status. Oh, that's a good draw. That's a really good draw. Okay, now I can I can just play on my own Tamio, and then I can get the Felia for next time. I think I'm going to do that, and then this should force some motion, whether that's a daze, whether that's a fatal push. It's okay. And we have a backup one if we really need her. You don't generally want to cast Force of Will at all in this matchup if they're on blue-black, just because it's like going down to cards and like all their cards are pretty cheap and you're not getting like ridiculous value. Oh, they're on a different deck. Okay. So they may not even like generally, they may be on ninjas. And we do have Solitude for this. I don't want to force into days. I think I'm just going to chill and plan to Solitude it. Yeah, Ninjas does play this combination of cards, and they were playing Ninjas more recently, I guess like a few days ago. I don't think Ninjas is particularly strong. Kaito Bane, 3 of them. Wow. 1 Murderous Cut, 2 Fatal Push. That's really light at Removal Suite. They have 2 main deck Bowmasters, which are a pain. 1 Borrower. Yeah, not a lot of creatures. The scary thing they have, they don't actually have it, is a lot of times they'll play the Thopter Foundry, but they don't seem to be playing that. That's fine. So next turn they can basically guaranteed flipper. Oh, such a good draw. What are the odds this resolves? They don't have a lot of stuff in their deck. How many, are they playing days at all? They're playing 3 dazes. They're not playing Wastelands, though. I do think we go ahead and get the Underground Sea here, and we try to Baleful Strix. It's just like really good. If they invest cards, we have Solitude and we have Tamio. They could just daze this. Oh, they're forcing this. Now what I'm thinking we do is we Solitude this. They don't have daves. We could just force back and then Stonewall their creatures. They can no longer get a free lunch. Oh, actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to force back. We're going to get a card off Strix when it resolves. Is it a good card? I'm going to attack, and if they pitch cards into Psychic Frog, I'm just going to Solitude it. They're just letting it through. All right. So this is kind of scary because they do play Bowmasters, but if they had Bowmasters in hand, they wouldn't have forced there. They would have been like, all right, I'll just Bowmasters next turn. Fatal Push on that. That's a 2-for-1. They do have this clue that they can potentially crack. It's scary. I don't want them to connect with Frog. I definitely don't want them to flip Tamio. But let's think big picture here. We're going to resolve our own Psychic Frog next turn. I don't think that's good enough. I think we do need to get rid of their Psychic Frog. I think now is the window I'm going to Solitude because they aren't going to be able to crack the clue. They may blow me out somehow, but I'm not sure how they would. Where is our card? Okay, we want to hit that. Okay, and now they can crack the clue, but they no longer have a Frog. So they can no longer flip her unless they somehow rip a Brainstorm. They could have a Ninja that they're going to ninjutsu in here with Tamio attacking. That's a possibility. But I feel very comfortable about the timing of my move there. Their entire deck is ninjutsu stuff. Where's the Ninja? Okay, no Ninja. Okay, they're drawing. They may be... Okay, Ornithopter. That's fine. That's a terrible card. It's not a terrible card in their deck, but in general, it's like not a card I'm terribly intimidated by. So we do have days. I wouldn't normally do this, but I think I am going to Wasteland them and hold up. We'll play the Wasteland. We'll go like this, get my Psychic Frog out. I am going to waste them. I'm aware of how crazy that sounds. We're kind of the beatdown deck now. They have 1 card in hand. They have a clue. They have a single Tamio. We're not going to be able to kill their Tamio with Psychic Frog, but next turn we are going to be able to start attacking. And if they're going to start chumping, they're going to start losing creatures. They are constrained on mana, so they can't make great use of their clues. And we don't suspect that they have Wasteland on their side of the table. So we should eventually draw enough lands through Frog and through Tamio that we can start leveraging our clues. Also, if we do flip Tamio, they're going to have a hard time dealing any damage to her. Kaito would be a nightmare, like literally bane of nightmares, if they were to resolve it. Is this another piece of removal? They already used one of their very few removal spells in their deck. Is this a... They play 2 Fatal Push, 2 Shielder's Edicts, and 1 Murderous Cut. This is probably Murderous Cut. That's why it's taking a little longer to resolve it. Yeah, and unfortunately, my Daze is not going to find a home here. Yeah, they're hellbent, but they can draw from the clue. Okay, so we're behind again. Very slightly behind, but behind nonetheless. I do think our top decks are better than theirs, but they do have Daze in their deck. Let's see, I'm trying to think of like different reasons why they're favored, because I always like to be the underdog here. But I do think that they're favored currently. This Ornithopter is just hanging out, but it can help them ninjutsu something every single turn. Best draws for me, Overlord would be great because I could get the Solitude back and start ticking down. Vial's too late. Force would be bad. Another Psychic Frog would be good. Brainstorm obviously would be good because then we could flip Tamio. I think Daze is pretty terrible here. I'd love to Brainstorm it back into my deck and shuffle it away. Okay, that's good. I'm down with drawing lands. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and start like this. I'll just attack, and then I'm going to Tundra, and I'm going to crack the clue. I mean, I'll actually crack the clue before I play the Tundra. We do have all these clues. That's something we have going for us. Plow. Oh, yes. All right, now I feel like we're doing okay. And if they Daze, we have the Daze back. All right. Feeling favored. 2 more clues to crack. Kaito cannot be countered because you're not casting it, you're ninjutsuing it, which sucks for me because Daze is like the one, like why would they be attacking if they didn't have a ninjutsu thing? Okay, and yes, they do have uncounterable ninjutsu creature which draws them a card immediately. I don't think anything could have been done about this. I do hope that they try to cast something here so that we can at least Daze something. Daze will eventually find a home, even if it's just being stapled to a Force Will. Okay, found a home. Get this back. There's their Ornithopter. All right. That's pretty good. This doesn't have any sort of evasion. I'm going to go ahead and start by attacking, create the clue. All right, we've got yet another clue that we'll eventually use, but we have something better to do right now. I do think I play out the land just on the off chance that they somehow had a Daze and didn't think it was worth using the Daze. If this is a plow, I will be incredibly favored. I don't think it will likely be. I'm not going to call it twice in a row. Holy cow, I called it twice in a row. Yes. Put that Velveeta in my veins. My goodness, what the heck? Our opponent has got to be so... Oh, no, that's a really good card against us. Look at all our clues. All right, well, we got a lot of good rips. It's their turn to get a good rip. Now, who knows what we get. Okay, they have the Brainstorm. It's also a good card. They're looking at 3 cards, but they can only keep 1, and then they have to crack the clue. All right. Let's go ahead and... So, Flicker Wisp doesn't do anything here. All right, so options. I think we definitely attack with Tamio. We could just hold Tamio back. We're not using the clues for anything, which is kind of like, okay, like we hold her back and we prevent them from being able to put Bowmasters back into their hand, which would grow the army and be really devastating. The other option is, of course, we could crack the clue and try to find something. We could also put Yorion in the hand. I don't like either of those options. I don't like growing it. I think we just stay put and eventually we'll have something. Them getting a card, they'll be able to crack the clue. They'll be able to do some stuff. Bowmaster. I mean, we're basically preventing 1 damage by not attacking with Tamio. I think we do attack with Tamio. Because these clues will be good if the game goes long. And knowing me, the game is going to go really long because I'm in it to like delay as long as possible. We're getting a lot of random pauses from them as we move between phases, which makes me think they may be multi-queuing or doing some cooking or something. Flicker Wisp being able to erase the Orc Army token is pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to probably crack a clue in the end step after they've attacked. That way I just increase the likelihood, because once I get my second white source, then it's not that big of a deal. Like Flicker Wisp will blink that out of play and I'll just have taken some damage. But I mean, sitting around with open mana and clues, I don't think is a winning strategy. Here's Kaito. We knew he might be coming. Yeah. There's nothing I can do about this, unfortunately. Like, it just can't be stopped. We're probably going to lose now. But I'm going to try to lose quickly. Because I don't want to... and now they can do the thing. They can... they could stun Tamio, but I think they're just going to do the Surveil trigger thing. They don't actually have that many ninjas in their deck. So almost always they just use the Surveil. And there's never a window to remove this with like a traditional combat thing. If I get enough lands, Uro is there, or Yorion is there to like help me toward the end. Belmerk is actually pretty nuts because it gives us Solitude. But Solitude isn't that great, unfortunately, unless we have more mana. But I do think we Belmerk here. We're getting low on life too. This does a lot of damage. Can we get a land? Oh, we get a Solitude. So we Solitude this. I think we Belmerk and then we Solitude with something other than Flicker Wisp. I feel like we have to get rid of the Bowmaster though, for sure. Oh, if we Overlord. Yeah, I am going to do this. I'm going to Overlord and I'll get a Solitude and I'll pitch Solitude to Solitude, I think. And that will get rid of the Bowmaster. But then we're taking 3 plus 2. So we're taking 5. I'll keep Tamio back and she can block the Orc Army. But this is still going to do some damage. And then we have to get a white card to be able to flip this. We could definitely get a white card off of Recruiter. So next turn we could Recruiter, we could get the land, but that shocks us. So it'll take a long time before we're able to get Flicker Wisp out. I think I'm just going to take Solitude and go Solitude to Solitude to get rid of Bowmasters probably. And I do think now's probably a good time to do this. Yeah, because this has Hexproof. Really irksome. Yeah, I'm just going to get... Well, I'd be really annoyed if like maybe they go all out on doing some play and I get a turn where there's no Bowmaster in play. I think I'm just going to... Bowmaster represents only 1 damage, but it represents so much encumbrance. And the idea of them ninjutsuing this back is terrifying to me. Yeah, I'm just going to keep Tamio back and we're going to go ahead. This is all riding on us getting a... getting another white source so that we can play it, or so we can Flicker Overlord. Yeah, total feels bad play, but one that's necessary. And if we wait, there's just a higher likelihood that they have, double days or force. So in this matchup, I'm definitely bringing in Prismatic Ending. I feel like that's going to be pretty good. And I'll just cut, some of the. I'll definitely cut Harbinger. So they're basically kind of Jace the Mind Sculpturing every turn. They're getting to look at 2 cards or 3 cards. Basically, if they don't have a removal spell for Tamio, they'll have one soon. They're cantripping a lot. They could definitely come back with another Bowmaster, which would be devastating. Okay, they're probably looking for a Bowmaster because they realize how good it is against me. I think this is the last turn we really have to do anything. But once Overlord's in play, they don't have very many creatures with evasion. So Overlord, they're giving their ninjas plus power. I didn't think about it, but yeah, it buffs itself, so now it's a 4/5. All right, we're going to block here. and hope that they don't have a Bowmasters. I mean, if they have a Bowmasters, we're dead anyway. So, okay, no Bowmasters. Please give us a white source. Holy cow. Are we actually doing this? Let's see if it resolves. I'm not going to celebrate until it resolves. The way they're thinking about it, like, what are the implications of this? Well, the implications are I'm about to get a ton of value. And I'm going to have a 5/5. But my 5/5 cannot necessarily stop Kaito. Because Kaito can just get even stronger. I think we hold this back to block the Orc Army. Gosh, are we dead? We can block this. We can block Kaito with it and trade with the Orc Army. That feels really bad. The Orc Army can be blocked by the actual Overlord. So I am going to get back Solitude here. I think that's the get. Getting back Strix is not bad, but that is on the condition that they don't have a another Bowmaster. If they do, then we're cooked. But we're kind of dead to Bowmaster anyway. Okay. I'll just sacrifice Tamio. I don't think she's great here. This can actually trade, with something if necessary. This doesn't have like indestructibility or anything, does it? Okay, there's the Bowmaster. Let's just concede. Over. Bowmasters is too strong. People are not playing it, and that's why this deck sneaks out. And it's like, oh yeah, you're not playing Bowmaster? I'm going to start playing Baleful Strix. You'll note that we're not even playing it in our 75 or our 95 because I think Bowmasters is not that great. Oh, wow. Did they fix it? Did they fix the issue? Let's see. Let's make the cards normal size. Okay, wow. They fixed it. Mid-server, mid-game, they were able to fix that somehow. Okay, so Bogart Trawler doesn't matter. Harbinger of the Seas doesn't matter. I think we get these prismatic endings, and I think that's it. Nice, simple. Lavinia, Ninjutsu is not really cast spells, but Lavinia does shut off Ornithopters, among other things, and it does pitch to both our Solitude and our Force. Daze would definitely be a cut here, but Bogart Trawler literally does nothing, I think, against their deck. Like, I don't think they use their graveyard at all, other than they have like a single Murderous Cut in their deck. Well, let's take a look what they're likely boarding in. Engineered Explosives is quite good against us. No Rod is good, but they didn't actually see Aether Vial, so they may not realize we're on Vial. Harbinger is pretty good against us if we don't have our basics, so we are going to prioritize getting our basic Swamp and our basic Plains, but we don't really have to do anything with basics other than that. Okay, for some reason my clock is still counting down, but I submitted so many times. I just want to make sure that I actually got my submissions. All right, MTGO client weirdness, just part of a Saturday afternoon of playing Legacy Magic the Gathering. Maybe our opponent's just waiting till the last minute. Also, you notice how the clock ticks at different intervals? I hope it received our submission. Sometimes I wonder if I somehow disconnected and it's just been counting the entire time, like my clock's been running down. I'll have to compare my time before we went to sideboarding and after, because it's just so weird. Okay, 13 minutes on the clock for both of us, but we are down a game. Okay, why aren't you letting me click on things? What the heck, MTGO? The interface is completely frozen. Well, I'm going to restart, and this is probably going to cost me the match, but c'est la vie. All right, it looks like it's accepting my inputs after a restart. We'll see if my cards are all janky looking. They're actually fine looking. This is great, and this hand is okay too. I'm going to keep this. So I think given the power of their deck, I am considering not leading Tamio. Maybe that's a mistake, but I could just island Tamio, and then we have a plow up, and if we can get ahead, that's pretty good. They don't actually have a lot of cards in their deck that we want to force. Oh, they're mulling to 5. This is good for us. We did lose about 2.5 minutes or so from the restart. I'm going to go ahead and just get an Underground Sea here because I'm going to get a Plains next turn. I'm not afraid of getting locked off of blue because at worst they bring in the And I think we did show him up planes last game. So, yeah. All right. And us being on the play, we get to cast the first hand mayo, which is pretty good. If they remove her, that's fine. She did her job. But I would like to create a token with her before she gets removed, so at least we get a 2-for-1. All right, we got motion. If they get a basic swamp, I'm going to assume a fatal push is coming. Their own Tamio. Well, I will just plow that just out of an abundance of caution, because any creature, no matter how innocuous, represents, getting some powerful ninja into the battlefield. And we have plenty of removal. All right. Yeah, I think I am going to go ahead and get a basic plains here. And I'm just going to plow her. And again, this is just on the very unlikely but possible chance that my opponent brought in Harbinger. Next turn, we'll have Clue Activation and Meticulous Archive. So, pretty slow start, but our opponent mulled really deep. Our opponent is also pausing on like very routine things, so it makes me think that they may be having server difficulty as well. I'm just going to F6. I don't have any interaction. And I can actually maybe trick them into thinking I don't have a force in my hand when I do, but I can't cast the force currently. I just want to save as much clock as I can here. Okay, Frog is fine. I'm going to definitely hope to draw a blue card so that I can force if their last card is force blue card with Psychic Frog. That could be really catastrophic for us. I can basically guarantee that isn't their last card if I just attack with Tamio and they jump it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to plow it. All right, that happened. Feeling good. Let's go and surveil here. I would like a force so I can press my advantage. I can do better. Not really afraid of anything here other than them just getting like some crazy permanent like Kaito into play. Them taking a turn to ponder is definitely good vibes. Like basically everything from here on out is gonna be like up a card. Oh, that's a reason to be worried. They can kill Tamio if they. So I need to think about what I'm gonna do. Oh, it's pretty good. So I think if we Solitude now, we're basically guaranteed to be able to get it back. I'm going to attack first. I don't think they're going to have force now if they didn't have it last time, and definitely not if they're going to block. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to Solitude now. And if they force for some reason, I can crack a clue to draw. It's dead. Now let's go ahead and Bellmark, and we'll just get our Solitude right back. Or we'll get something better if we rip something even better. But Strix, Psychic Frog, I think might qualify as better. Close the game a lot faster. Actually, Flicker Wisp with our current mana just gets Overlord next turn. So that's what I'm going to do. We've got so many clues. Even if they deal with this Tamio, they've got a lot of clues they're going to have to work through. They're brainstorming. Again, I'm F6ing just because I have to win 2 games. I don't think I'm going to be able to win 2 games. I don't think they're going to prioritize getting force here, but they do know that I'm about to flicker my Overlord, so that would be definitely like a force of will emergency situation. Daze would also work here if I don't find a land. Frog. If I draw a white card and I'm able to get this Flicker Wisp through, okay, well that's pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and start by flickering. There's the force. There's nothing I can do about this. I can block Psychic Frog now. They're only going to have 1 card. I think it's worth just hanging back and blocking Psychic Frog. They'd have to Fatal Push. Overlord is still counting back, just like counting down naturally. If I get 1 more mana, I can also Yorion him. There, they ripped the 1 Fatal Push, so that does unlock their Frog so they can attack me. That's bad feels. Oh, yeah. I don't think I've done anything wrong here, but I felt like the game was mine, but like this Frog really does turn things around quite a bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get the blue-black Surveil, and let's see if we can rip something really special here. That I don't think that's good enough. Yeah, I want to get something better. I mean, that would be Yorion plus draw off the clue, but I really need to get rid of that frog. I'm going to crack a clue. That does it. It's a turn from now. If I had another land, I'm going to go ahead and draw just because I've got nothing else going on. I don't think playing out Tomio is good. I'm going to draw, and if I get a land, then next turn we can hardcast Solitude, and we'll have Force Up. They are going to draw a card, and they're going to be able to do a lot of stuff between now and then. 8 minutes on the clock. Now Spell Bomb. I don't really care. It does kind of affect Overlord. I just don't want them to have Daze as their last card. That would be pretty devastating. I'd have to force. But Solitude resolving would be huge. Yep. So now they have 2 cards, and one of them could be Daze. If I just draw another land, that does solve the Daze issue. It's fine. It's worth noting that, like, even though I'm really low on time and I have to win a game, I'm likely going to win this game, I think. Unless something really wrong happens. Like, I'll definitely force a Bowmasters. That's like the scariest card in their entire deck, in my opinion. All right. So if we have to force fight... Oh, no, we don't have any anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. White, blue, whatever, Solitude. And this should be the game, but if they want to play it out, I'm just going to play very quickly. I'm just going to chill. They're going to need lots of removal. They actually don't have that many good ways to get rid of. And Overlord's coming down next turn, and we're going to start connecting. It's worth noting, like, annoyingly, Bowmasters can gum up the works quite a bit with Solitude. Also worth noting, I can't F6 because of Force Will, so I'm not really gaining time here. Okay, they conceded. All right, so this is coming down to the wire. 7 minutes on both sides of the table. Almost exact clocks. And the giant card thing is back. All right, let's make these cards reasonable size again. I think everything stays the same. No, wait, they deboarded me. They freaking deboarded me again. Quit deboarding me, MTGO. Okay, so Harbinger of the Seas comes out, and Lavinia comes out. Wait, Lavinia stays. I think we established she's okay. But Bogor Trawler comes out. It doesn't do anything, and they're not a Wasteland deck. I think that's all the changes we're going to make. Let's submit and hope it actually submits. And that we don't stay here for 3 minutes. Okay, the clock stopped counting. Hopefully it's not counting and the game has started. I need every damn second. I'm playing Esper Vial in 2024. My goodness. All right, this is a hand with a vial in it. Karakas is not actually good against that Planeswalker creature. I think I'm going to keep this because Vial's insane. Can I justify keeping effectively like a 5-land hand? Yeah, I can justify that. Karakas does stop like some of the other creatures in their deck. It's not like completely dead. It's not a great card by any means. Okay, this card shouldn't even be in your deck against me, in my humble opinion. The only thing it matters for is Overlord and Frog itself. Okay, Hull Breacher is a great card. I think I'm going to go ahead and get I'm going to get a Tundra. I'm not worried at all about them taking us, like, if they do play that card, the one that I always struggle to name, Harbinger of the Seas, not Harbinger of the Tide. I'm not that worried about it. So we've got Force Will. Emergency Force Will targets would include probably Psychic Frog. Thank goodness. They should just cycle this now. They keep stopping at random intervals. Like, they're going to lose due to time, I think. But it could be me that loses to time. Second Force is welcome. I think we just play this around days. Yeah, don't need that. Wasteland is not particularly strong in the matchup. I'm going to probably pitch Force to Force. Hull Breacher is like an insane card in this matchup. They're just waiting for no reason whatsoever, like transitioning between phases. Yeah, I think they're probably having issues with their client too. No thanks. And I will be using the Force here. They didn't force back. That's good. And now I think we can F6. I can't start spamming like vial activations, like it, you know, just to test it and see if they're paying attention. We got like 5 seconds off their clock just by activating that vial. I don't know. It's kind of a wash. All right. I'm going to Overlord now. I'm going to go ahead and do that first, and then I can bounce the Tamio. If they bomb me, that's okay. I want them to think about it. I will take back Flicker Wisp, which is insane here. I am going to go ahead and bounce Tamio now. I'll just F6. Sure. She's back. Even if they flip her, I'm not that worried about her. Overlord's going to be really strong. And it should be able to come out without daze. I will take it up. We've got Hull Breacher waiting in the wings. Go ahead and get a... Let's get a Plains here, just in case they do stick the thing. I don't need any more blue sources. Okay. All right, the trigger goes on the stack. Are you going to nuke my graveyard finally? Or are you going to... I guess I don't technically have anything in there to target right now. That's fine. It doesn't actually matter because you're not removing anything. But if it takes you a few seconds to think about it, that is fine with me. Okay, their clock stopped, which makes me think that there's some latency and my clock is going. Oh, they just conceded. Okay, we got it. We got it. We persisted. Ninjas were very strong, but not as strong as Aether Vial. Let's... is this the final game? The final round? We are 2-2, fighting for the positive record after losing to just ridiculous luck on the Reanimator side. Ridiculous deck, ridiculous luck. And losing to... I think I made up a couple misplays during the first match against Moon Stompy. I think that we are kind of favored against Moon Stompy just because we have basics and we have lots of things to stop those shenanigans. So that one I will just explain as me making probably bad piloting errors. It was about 2 hours ago, so I can't remember the exact details. I edit these down automatically. Like I automatically edit out the silences. But when I play a league, I'm like sitting here for like 3.5 hours. This deck takes forever to play. It doesn't take as long to play on paper. This hand is nutty. Brainstorm locked. Well, let's see if that happens. I will be very... I feel like I'm fulfilling your username all the time. Okay, so Eldrazi. So if they're on Eldrazi, this is from a month ago. But they play a pretty broad variety of... Well, in Legacy... Yeah, it's really just that one. So if they're on Eldrazi, then we probably don't actually have Brainstorm Lock in the cards. This is a really good hand, though. It doesn't have an island for days, but like if this sticks, and I'm going to make sure it sticks, like I'm going to force like none other to keep it around. I've got double force effect. If this vial sticks, it is our ticket. And we saw if you watch the previous league video, there's this just totally epic match against Eldrazi where we were like totally dead. We were at literally 1 life and we hung on for like 6 turns and turned the table with a single Aether Vial after they kickered Sowing Microspawn twice. We lost everything. It was the equivalent of like having Cataclysm cast against you and then still somehow like coming back from it. I'm going to kind of like cool my nerves a little bit because that last game was really long and really intense. Ancient Tomb. Nothing good ever came out of an Ancient Tomb. Moon Stompy. Fable. I actually think I'm going to counter Fable. They're pretty low resource here. And I will pitch this Daze, which is not currently doing anything, to do it. All right. Aether Vial is going to take up. And even if we don't draw any more land, I wouldn't have countered a Blood Moon there. I don't think. Do we want a 3rd land? I don't think we do. I think we got all the land we need. Trying to think of the merit of getting a land. I mean, it does allow us to get Yorion. Allows us to get a swamp, which is not like super strong. Yeah, I'll keep it. Yorion does give us both force and solitude. I don't really want to have to pitch Frog to force. We'll see what they put on the stack. I think Yorion and solituding the broadside is fine, and then we have a Frog and we can win with that. I'm not going to pitch frog to stop this. All right, we'll see if they do something degenerate at the end. No. Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to yes. I'm going to go get Underground Sea. It doesn't really matter. I've got a blue source. I don't have any double blue in my deck. I'll just get a swamp just in case they do blood menace. Maybe it'll come up. Go get Yorion. And we have force up. And if they do something, they're probably going to do it before they attack. Do we just want to take the 2 just in case they do something degenerate afterward and we need to be able to force it? I think that's okay. Okay, so here I'm very glad that I held the force. And that I didn't just pitch Yorion willy-nilly there. Broadside is still scary. And it still may very well be our death. But we're at least going to get 1 attack with Frog in. So we'll potentially draw a white card. We can potentially use that to get rid of. This is going up. Okay, Underground Sea is not a great draw. It might be a pitch. But keep in mind, we're like 1 turn away from just hard casting Solitude. I think I'm just going to attack, and I'm not going to pump. If we do pump... Oh, man, I'm going to be so sad if they just kill our frog, and we just throw our land and our ticket to Solitude. We're going to get Solitude anyway. Let's put some pressure on them. They've got an Ancient Tomb mana base. I'm going to play a second one, and that way, if they do kill one, I've got another one waiting in the wings. Vial will tick up and eventually hit 5, and we'll eventually remove Broadside that way. If they have One Ring here, it's going to be really sad. Pyrogoyf. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, they can do a lot of damage to us here. They can hit us with it. Oh, they're going after the... this is doing 4 damage. We can't save it. 5 damage now. Wow. So devastating. If they throw this, that's... So they're hitting this for 2, and then they can throw it for another 6 if they want to. I don't think they do that, though. That doesn't make sense. I think... And if they follow up with another Pyrogoyf... Oh, they are doing it. Craziness. Yeah, I mean, I guess better the frog than me. Because now I'm fighting to stay alive. They got 6 life. Solitude does give them some life, but... What can we draw here? I do think we have to let it tick up. There are a few cards. No, we can cast everything. Yeah, I'm going to let it tick up. And then worst case scenario, if they draw blank, we do have Solitude off of the Vial next turn. Delta is a dead draw. It does surveil though. And it, you know, there's a world in which they somehow blow this up. Okay, I'm going to surveil off of this. We just have to survive this turn. Just let us survive 1 turn cycle. They can't even cast anything without dying. Okay, now they can. Second broadside. I think actually we're probably dead now. They can actually throw a broadside to itself. So they do 4, and then they can do 5 more. So we're at 2. If they have anything at all, they can kill us. I'm scared to even freaking fetch now. But I think it's necessary. This fetch might be the death of us. Yeah, so we Solitude next turn. We need a plow. So we need to plow and Solitude next turn. That's how we survive. So this gives us an extra look at a plow. Maybe they get jumpy and like throw one of these. That would actually be a huge blessing if they decide to throw one. So we played against the red deck 3 times today in this league. In reality, this is actually my 3rd and a half league for the day. I'm trying to channel my inner joyful waffle. Better lucky than good. Say it with me. I think we got this. So they could still just like untap and do some degeneracy, but I feel like we're in a very good place. I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. I could wait. But I want to wait and crush their dreams next turn. They Pyrogoyf, we're still dead. Yeah, I don't want to give them mana. Well, okay, so they're going to go to attack. Stop here. That should prevent them from being able to boast. Okay, and now we're going to give you a bunch of life. Good news. You're going to have a lot of life that you can use to tap those Ancient Tombs. So I'll probably die, but I'm going to fight as hard as I can on my way out. Okay, now it's time for you to start drawing Moxes and other crap cards that I know are in your deck. Okay, great. So we're going to connect this. I want to just always know. Okay. Now we can start rebuilding our life total. Just going to attack. I'm going to keep this card in my hand just as a mystery. I don't think there's a reason to play it out. Come on, just dud a couple more times. The One Ring is okay. It'll do a bunch of damage to you. Just don't have another Pyrogoyf. Vexing Bobble's fine. Oh, pleading with my opponent's deck. Like, I'm not usually in this position, but like to even survive this long, I had to like expend my Yorion. I had to like use so many resources. Fable's good for them. So now we need to get rid of that Goblin Shaman, or else we're going to not be able to gain any more life. I would love to draw like a Belmerk. Okay, that's good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start by brainstorming here. I can potentially brainstorm away this bad Tundra. Tamiya is not terrible. It's not great. Let's put this back. Let's put this back. They pretty much have to block if I attack. Oh. If I hold back, then I can block with Tamiyo, and then I can attack. I kind of like doing that. They may find a Fury, which won't actually address both of these. All right, and even if they find a Blood Moon here, we're going to have all our colors. Yeah, I'm going to let them attack, or just hold it back as a wall forever. Next turn, I'll start having the one-sided Howling Mine effect. I mean, I could definitely be dead if they broadside here, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. I'll double block the broadside. Then they'll throw something, but at least I'll survive. Unless it's a Fury. Oh, what? They pitched. Wait, what did they pitch? Discard a mountain. Okay, never mind. I got confused about what's in their graveyard. Sorry. False alarm. They are attacking, which I love to see. Now, if they have Fury, they can wipe our entire board, but I'm going to go for this. Am I? No, I think we have to let this through. We'll gain the life back on the backswing. I can't risk them being able to Fury both of these away. They don't actually have... Oh, they do have double red now with the treasure token. I think they probably take out the Tamiyo if they do have Fury. They're doing some damage to themselves. There's the Fury. Okay, so blocking would have been really bad. So like the best play here probably is to go ahead and hit the Tamiyo because she represents an additional draw trigger. Now we have to draw... Overlord would be good. Again, Overlord would rebuy Solitude. Overlord would be nuts if my deck wants to give me Overlord. I think I will take the island just in case of like a late game. Blood Moon. Harbinger's not good. I mean, we can cast it and stay alive. It actually helps them because it makes them where they can tap their lands. We're like super dead on board if this clue doesn't get us where we need to go. A Brainstorm would not be the worst because we could flip Tamiyo. I'll just go ahead and do these. I should have tapped the white. Oh, we're getting more lands. No, not like this. All right, so we have to chump with this Harbinger, and that keeps us alive for one turn unless they have something really good here. Soon they're going to be able to start copying it. Yeah, we fought really hard, but it's looking like we're going to lose this one. I'm not even going to bother playing out this land. I'm trying to think of what we can draw now. I think Solitude is still good. So we have to block the Fury. It's a force block. All right, Harbinger down. Didn't really... Okay, and they still have more stuff to do, so we're dead. Whoa, going to 1? Do you not believe in Bowmaster? I'm not playing it, but like I think that's a very sus play going all the way down to 1 against a deck that, you know, has black in it. That's very aggressive. But I mean, now I think Solitude does it. Solitude does that, and then we block and trade. But they can actually make a second one. Yeah, we would survive with Solitude. I think Solitude's the only thing. Overlord into Solitude could work. If I could draw one of my 5 Overlords. No, I'll just draw land. Good games. All right, let's go to round 2. Game 2. Oh, that was frustrating. I had to spend so many resources just on the opening volley. Where did I fall behind? I felt like I was ahead for a lot of that game. Okay. That was a long one. So I do think Consign is good here. I think Force Negation is good. I think Prismatic Ending is potentially good too. Their deck, I didn't see a single Moxen, but I did see Vexing Bobble, which makes me want to board these in. Does MTGO's client want to react, or is it going to make me restart? Okay. So we're boarding literally everything except the Fairy Macabras. And then I do think we take these out. Like, they're great, obviously. I was like begging for one for the entire game, but they're a really bad top deck. They're a really bad, like, when you really need to be able to force something and you've got that in your hand, it feels really bad. Harbinger comes out. Serious lag in the UI. Daze stays in on the play. I think Tamio comes out. So how are we actually winning? I think we just have to win off of Psychic Frog. I could definitely be overboarding here. Flicker Wisp does get a lot worse when you don't have... Well, I mean, they're doing so much damage to themselves. Flicker Wisp is pretty good because it can kind of fly up there, and I think Velia is potentially bad. She can blink tokens. Like, I don't know. Hull Breacher feels pretty bad, really. Like, it does address one ring. And then I'll just put one of the consigns back. We don't need all four. All right. Teferi pitches to both. I think we keep it. I mean, like, so much of this game, because the meta is so fast, like, really does come down to what pitches to what. It feels weird to say that. Like, oh, like Teferi, this insane card that everybody was complaining about like 3 or 4 years ago. It's like, oh, it pitches. Pitches to Force and a Solitude. But, like, that's, like, basically the best case usage over here. So we do have a Psychic Frog. So I'm going to keep on the back of Psychic Frog. We have Island. We can't actually play Island. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick with non-basics here, and I'm just going to have to force Underground Sea. Or I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to Underground Sea and force Blood Moon. Earlier I asked how do we win? We win through just like overwhelming advantage and them doing a ton of damage to themselves to where, Psychic Frog can get there. I don't think we're ready to deal with this. I'm gonna pitch as much as it pains me to do so. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and Surveil, since we're kind of committing to the lifestyle of not having basics. That was a 2 for 2. I do think we keep this because it gives us something to pitch to force if we need to defend our original frog. All right. Black, blue, Frogger. Just keep tapping that tomb. Not going to chuck that in or bolt that in. Okay. Well, we're going to get a draw a card, it looks like, which is great. I'm not going to put extra power on it. I want to see what I draw here. I mean, there's a good chance I'm going to deploy the second frog. Just try to, run away with the game through card advantage. Black, blue. We do, like, if they attempt to try to, like, Fury these away, we can easily pitch these Recruiters. We're not able to cast them anyway. We have a new blue card for Force. Broadside is scary. I might force that. That definitely needs to be forced. I don't think there's much of a discussion here. It's just too strong. All right, we're going to get 2 new cards here. And the card we draw for turn. The Delta. This can get an island, which does give us outs if they get like a late game Blood Moon. I'm just going to hit for damage here. I'm not going to pitch the Recruiters. Okay, there's another land. Consign is great. Do we want to hold up Consign, or do we want to go ahead and go for the gold with Recruiter? I think we wait a turn. Consign is really good. If they do another One Ring, I'll be so glad that I held up Consign. If they pitch cast Fury, I'll be so glad I held up Consign. Actually, pitch casting Fury isn't that big of a deal. Case of Chaos Adventurer. I think we just let this resolve and we just take the initiative and kill them. We're going to kill them a lot faster than they're going to kill us. We could stifle the initiative trigger, but I feel like the initiative trigger is actually really good for us because we can get more cards and deal more damage. Yeah, I'm going to let it happen. We're kind of like, just like this Caves of Chaos adventure is like running through like some cave, which is inadvisable, like running through a cave. Like, do you really want to run through a cave of all places? We are similarly kind of like running through a cave on our side, playing with fire here. There's a very decent chance that we find a removal spell here. It's interesting they played that out. So they have a mountain and 3 unknowns. I am going to go to Surveillant here just to, I mean, if we can find a plow. Actually, we have guaranteed Solitude. We can just recruit for Solitude. And then we can also keep Consign up. I think that's good. And then we can keep the initiative. I will Meticulous Archive here because I think we're so far ahead that like even if they Blood Moon, it's not that big of a deal. Teferi to bounce that to their hand. Not the worst. I mean, they can get like Forge. This gives us forward momentum. It also guarantees that we're going to be able to. We draw a card, we bounce. It's going to be annoying for them. They are going to be able to immediately retake the initiative, but we get to keep more cards and do more damage. I think stalling them is fine, and Teferi is a stall technique. We can actually consign the trigger on the way back down. So they don't actually get the initiative back. I think it's fine to discard a card here. Harbinger is pretty bad. Harbinger is a blue card, but we already have a blue card in Force. Or Consign. Let's just do 4 here. Draw some cards. Get the initiative. I'm going to go get a basic island. That was actually kind of bad because now I have to get a duel. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Caracas. Lots of cards we can pitch next turn. I mean, they're dead on board. So taking the initiative back doesn't really do anything. They're going to have to do something different. Fable doesn't really change anything. I can actually just hit the create a token trigger. Or we can just fly over it. It doesn't even matter. This shouldn't matter. Yeah, and they realize it doesn't matter and they pack it up. Okay. So I think we're keeping the same. Daze is definitely worse on the draw. I think we could cut it and we could bring in Hull Breacher is actually good against just at stopping, not at actually doing it. I think Daze is probably better than Hull Breacher. Okay, is it going to give us our interface back? Yeah, I think we just run it back. What we were doing felt good, but it's easy to say things felt good when you had like an opening force into. All right, let's see if we can close out this final game of the league strong. We have a Hydroblast hand. This would normally be exceptional, but if they just open Blood Moon, we're totally screwed. I think they mulliganed. I think they might be looking for Blood Moon. Yeah, if they have turn 1 Blood Moon, that's just game. If we mulligan, we might be able to find a natural basic. This basic swamp does basically nothing. It doesn't cast anything in our deck. I'm going to mulligan. This is worse. It's basically the same hand. Okay, I'm not going to go any deeper. I wanted to get a Vial. I'm just going to accept that if they have Blood Moon, then we're dead. If they don't have Blood Moon, then we do have a Snowball's Chance in Hell. Recruiter's the slowest card. I'll put that back. We're going to definitely fetch Island, Swamp, and just try to not use white at all. They're mulliganing to 4 cards. They're really digging for that Blood Moon. But what they don't know is that they don't know that we don't have a force. Hydroblast is practically force if you get a draw step. Or if you get the ability to play a land. All right. Is this Blood Moon? Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Unpunished. And we can play all our basics this game. I'm just going to hold up Consign and Island and Hydroblast here. They're so low in resources that I feel like if we just counter like 1 or 2 of the things, they might concede. Yeah, and Blood Moon will cease to even matter after next turn. This Fable is precisely the kind of thing I like to Hydroblast. It represents so much value for them. And now we're going to deploy our Psychic Frog. And we're going to start just going to town. I think that's totally fine. I'm okay with them potentially having the 1 ring here if I get a crack at Psychic Frog. Yeah, I don't think waiting around is correct. I think we need to press our advantage. They could have Pyroblast, which is not the end of the world. Broadside. That's a strong card. Do they have anything to throw? All right, so I'm feeling pretty good because we can hit them and draw a card and start pulling away. They are doing damage, but we are doing worse than damage. We're putting them in a card advantage deficit. So I'll attack first. I don't think we push damage here. I think we just see what we draw. No, I'm going to go ahead and discard. I'll discard a card. That's a great card. And I think this will probably prompt a concession. Okay, so Baleful Strix could wait for next turn. If they do have Fury as their last card, it's like pretty backbreaking. I'm getting some lag. Are they conceding? Yep, they conceded. All right, so that was a 3-2. And I do think that the games that we lost were winnable. Not the Reanimator. that deck is just ridiculous. I know I sound like a broken record. Oh, it's too powerful. They need to. I mean, they are going to ban something out of it. There's no question about it. It's just a question of how soon, that happens. So I'll pull the deck up. It's probably going to be all gigantic and stuff. Look at these cards. They're gigantic in the user interface. But we had some good games there, even though the UI was a little wonky. The list seemed great. I loved having access to basics. Bogart Trawler was a little too late in the Reanimator matchup, but I still think it's really good to have it as a shootable target in the deck. The Solitudes were absolutely clutch. Like, why play this deck over blue-black tempo? Well, the answer is Solitude, really. Like, at the end of the day, Solitude is insane, and it was insane in all of those different matches. If you enjoyed this, I encourage you to watch the other video that I just published right before this, where I had that epic match against Eldrazi, that epic game against Eldrazi, where it just like went so long. But yeah, like playing against Red Stompy 3 times, won twice, and the other one was a 1-2, but like I could easily see us winning that. So I'm going to give that matchup like a 60-40. I think we're 60-40 favored over them. And the reason is, again, Force of Will, Solitude, Aether Vial itself negates like a lot of the impact of Blood Moon, because suddenly, you're doing powerful stuff, even if they are trying to lock you out. Like, it's very hard to lock this deck out. The real way you lock it out is you just wasted a whole bunch and you have like a really quick combo finish. But against fair decks, I think we can outgrind. This is such a fun deck to play, though, and I really appreciate you all tuning in and watching this. If you noticed anything where you're like, where you didn't think I was playing sufficiently tight, anything that looks loose, no matter how small, please, I'm never going to shoot the messenger. I do not mind even the most pedantic of feedback. It's all useful for me. I read it. My whole goal is just get into shape where like I can go in during Eternal Weekend and just play this deck on autopilot or play blue black. And I have not given up on blue black, but I do think that this is like much more my style of deck to play. I do like being able to kind of choose whether I want to be the beatdown, whereas with blue black you're almost always the beatdown. You don't really have the game does not get better for you as the game goes on. With this, the game absolutely gets better for you the longer it goes on. Like, I routinely outgrind lands, Jeskai control. You can watch the video where I outgrinded Beanstalk. That was like not even funny, like how powerful the deck was showing up against them. And it's just a really strong deck against the top decks in the format, and nobody's used to playing against it. And that is a huge thing because it's a dark horse. But anyway, I'll quit singing the deck's praises and I'll let you get back to your day. But I hope whatever you do, you be excellent to each other and party on.